Hello everybody, my name is Brianna Bilo and this is your December 2023 monthly climate summary. So starting out with our story of the month, we have a relatively slow start to the snow season. So while we did see snow begin fairly early in September, as you can kind of see here, we did see that uptick beginning of the water year. We have since November generally stayed below the median trend for snowpack. So generally speaking, looking at that like 25 to 50th percentile. So unfortunately, part of this is due to the fact that we have been in a very amplified and very blocky pattern. And for a good chunk of the snow season thus far, so September, October, mostly November, and into December, we have seen a lot of ridging and not a lot of troughing and not a lot of storminess. And so that has not only led to drier conditions, but it also brought above normal temperatures, sometimes running as much as 15 degrees above normal. And so not only are we seeing those below normal precipitation just in general, but those warmer temperatures mean that the snow levels aren't as low, and the snow that we are accumulating is accumulating at higher elevations compared to a normal year. So while the highest elevation snowpack may be closer to normal, lower on the slopes, they've seen rain-snow mixes, rain, and all of that is kind of contributing to this below normal showing for snowpack thus far through about mid-December. This image here is taken from December 15th. But as we've seen, January kicked in, and it was like Mother Nature said, new year, new me. And we entered into this much colder, much stormier pattern that hopefully has put a little bit of a change into this trend, maybe brought us a little bit closer to the median snowpack for the time of year. Although we will have to see what happens as we move from winter into spring, because really our biggest snowpack building months tend to be February and March, actually, in the mountains at least. So there's still quite a lot of winter to go to see where we'll end up. As you can see, our peak snowpack actually occurs beginning of April. So several months here, if we can keep the stormy trend going, we might see some good recovery. If we end up stuck back in a very blocky pattern with a ridge prevailing, we may just see a lower than normal snowpack here. We'll just have to wait and see. Where did my mouse go? There it is. Sorry about that, guys. So our December high temperatures are, we had 4 sites actually, Cortez, Durango, Grand Junction, and Montrose, all tie for top spot with the high temperature, and that being 55 degrees. Cortez, this occurred on the 7th and the 12th. Durango saw this on the 6th. Grand Junction saw this on the 4th and the 13th, and Montrose saw this on the 7th. And then our coldest high temperature for the month actually was in Meeker this time, occurring on the 6th and the 20th. Kind of scattershot as far as temperatures are concerned, but you can kind of see that some of them are clustered around this 4th, 5th time period. Some are clustered around this 20th time period. We did see going into December kind of a continuation of November's trend of warmer than normal temperatures punctuated by much colder periods. And so these just kind of reflect times where certain areas managed to really tap into that warmer air. These areas, Meeker, Aspen, Craig, tended to see, they saw the most snow, tended to see valley inversions, had a much harder time taking advantage of warmer air compared to, say, Cortez or Grand Junction, where that warmer air could mix down a little bit easier, a little bit sooner. Looking at our low temperatures for December, coldest spots, Meeker and Craig tied at -12. Again, very reflective of those valley inversions I was talking about, having those colder temperatures. And these occurred post the pre-Christmas storm. So we actually had a storm go through on the 22nd and the 23rd, kind of impacting pre-Christmas travel. And then behind that storm, we saw some much colder air move in, and you can also see that reflected in the majority of these dates, where the coldest temperatures of the month tended to occur within a few days of Christmas, after Christmas. Our warmest spot was Grand Junction, which got down to 15 degrees on the 27th. Definitely a much colder showing compared to November, at least across the board, while Craig and Meeker didn't get that much colder. Precipitation, not the best month, at least as far as our 10 observation sites, which admittedly are they tend to favor valleys more than mountains. And the mountains saw quite a bit of precipitation. Valleys did not see as much. So big winners here, Durango at just over 1.2 inches, which was 0.35 inches above normal, followed by Meeker at 0.92, which was 0.04 above normal. And then our big loser again was Vernal with just 0.02 of an inch for the whole month. And overall, we saw these the below normal departures range from just 0.03 below normal here in Grand Junction, all the way to over 0.5 inch below normal in Vernal. Although, with the exception of Vernal, most of these were within about 0.2 of an inch of normal. So we've definitely seen a lot worse, but still not the greatest. As far as our drought update is concerned, storms in December tended really to target this northern and central mountains area, so we did see a reduction in drought category across northwestern Colorado, going from moderate drought D1 down to this abnormally dry category, the maintenance of this drought-free zone. But then we also saw the southern mountains not do as well, and so we've seen a return of this D2 severe drought category over the central San Juans, and then kind of very little change in the rest of this pattern, with the majority of the areas seeing either moderate drought or abnormally dry conditions. And then again, looking at the drought tendency, areas under abnormally dry conditions have no drought tendency. Likely we won't see too much of a change unless we see some very, very substantial precipitation in the month of January. Areas that are in drought, looking at drought persisting, with the exception of the Four Corners, where actually we are looking at either drought remaining but improving, so kind of seeing these areas of D2 and D1 improve a category or two to just D1 or abnormally dry conditions, and even in some spots looking at drought removal likely, which bodes pretty well. But again, we need to kind of keep this storminess going as we move through the remainder of the snow season. And then looking at our snowpack update, definitely an improvement on the Colorado side. Eastern Utah, southeastern Utah saw a bit of a downtick, going from, I think it was like something like 75% in November down to 60% of normal. But the Duchesne and northeastern Uinta basins have come up to around 60% of normal as well, and this may just be reflective of having a better snowpack as we've moved solidly into the winter season. More than anything. And then eastern Utah, western Colorado, definitely seeing an improvement across the north, and that's reflective of a lot of the storms from December really targeting these northern and central mountains. So now the Yampa, White, Little Snake, Colorado Headwaters, and Gunnison Basin all in that 70 to 80% of normal range. San Miguel, Dolores, Animas, and San Juan basins down here in southwestern Colorado still sitting at about 60% of normal. So not a ton of change down here, but stands to reason that January may show something a little bit different, as we hope that this storminess continues. Looking at the January climate outlook per the Climate Prediction Center, above the board, all below normal temperatures. Strongest signal around the Four Corners, decreasing likelihood as you move north, but still moving from a slight tendency towards below normal temperatures to a pretty strong signal here. And then likewise, at least a slight tendency towards above normal precipitation for the vast majority of the area, with a slightly higher probability around the Four Corners. And that's it for the December climate summary. See you again soon for the January climate summary. Enjoy the season. Have a good one.